Testing, one, two.
We are all good.
All good, man.
We are recording.
Oh man, it doesn't look. It's like we were talking in the kitchen.
Yeah. I know. I'll just get you to bring that
A bit, yeah.
Yeah, just like
A
that.
crisper.
Yeah, awesome.
Beautiful.
Welcome, Judex.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yeah.
Actually, I wasn't really invited. I did a call though. Easy.
A cold call.
A call. Yeah. But you know what I mean.
You were invited. You were referred to me by Raz.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, but Raz is a friend, you know, and this
Yeah.
is the big family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, he's a really cool guy.
Oh man, we've been together for a while now. We'd be like a good since I played with his band. We'd be like a good 8 years or 10 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. Just tell you the story. Yeah, I used to play with other bands, and we always meet musicians in the days in the city. They meet in China Bar
Oh yeah.
every night.
On
This is a place like
Swanston Street.
it's like, yeah, another one in how do you call that? Spencer Street.
Oh, Spencer, yeah.
And so you meet a lot of musicians there. This was like a where you meet of musicians that come from their gigs and things. But he always told me, because I play a lot of reggae and things like that in the days with other bands.
Yeah.
You should be playing with me, brother. You should be playing with me, brother. You know, and I love you, brother. You know, but yeah, I remember that one day he just came to my place without notice with some chili, and he said to my missus, "You know what? This guy now he's playing for me. I'm looking after him." I said no. So it was done, and his story, that story, man. Like yeah, classic. So since then, just play together. Big brother, he's very nice. This is one of the nicest person and genuine person and open. Man, I learned so much from him. I've learned so much from him. Not musically, but musically as well. But as a person, oh, he's such a person.
He comes across as such a humble, gentle, like kind soul. That doesn't like hurt anybody.
He's genuinely like that everywhere.
Yeah.
And this is how you can't say no to someone like him.
Yeah.
And actually, people always ask him how you get the gigs. And I know that's for true. He just like genuinely so good that people always invite him to play. It's been like that. Like, man, like, yeah, this is where you learn stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You can't I don't think you can learn that like nature that he has.
He is
like he must have been like that his whole life.
He's been. And even in his song he talk about no competition, peace and love.
Yeah. It's
all about up tempo and easy, keep it easy. I like his philosophy anyway. Yeah.
So this isn't a podcast about him. This is a podcast about you.
Well,
so I know we were talking a little bit in the kitchen before, but so your background is you're Mauritian.
Okay, yes. Let me introduce. Let me bring it there. Let me bring you there.
Yeah.
So, I'm Mauritian. Born in 1975, the best year in the world.
Oh.
Yeah. The best are born there. No, I'm just a bit of it.
I was 79.
No, not good, man. Maybe still good. I'm not sure. But yeah, no, 75.
Yeah.
But yeah, born in 75 in Mauritius. A very humble, very modest family.
Yeah.
Humble family. And I was, how would I put that? I haven't been going back in these places, and I'm just getting a haul right now. So very humble family. Not much. We didn't have much money, but always a lot of love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we kind of like, we made our day each and every day. We live today and tomorrow. There was even the education. So we went through that government education.
Yeah.
We just went through it. but there was no one to push you really. Like here you're structured and people try to push you. Even mom and dad didn't really push.
Because I guess it's kind of a little bit like island life.
It was
Easygoing.
It was
like yes, you should go to school, but it's like
it was so easy. Let me tell you, it was very easy for me. Like during the primary school, never ever really worried about anything.
yeah.
Never even thought that there was actually a secondary school.
You didn't even know that there was?
No, so you just live life, and then
That's the life.
That's the life.
In the 1970s.
Yes, so it got to the 80s.
80s, yeah.
Early 80s, and so you just like doing your. You see here you call that year 6 or whatever to go to your grade to the higher school whatever.
Yeah.
So you had to do like there's a competition kind of how do you call that? It's called CPE there.
Mhm.
So you have to do your primary graduation, whatever.
Right,
You
right.
compete. You compete to go to the best colleges and things like that.
Gotcha. Yep.
But I didn't even know that. So
Mm.
it was good in a way. So I've naturally kind of like go through that process, not pushing myself,
Mhm.
but it still got humble result, really good result in a way.
Mm.
Like there was other student there in the system that their parent push them. They learn and they go and do past papers, like trying to be gimmick and just to get the numbers, but never been like that. So kind of like these people, they have really good results. But when they go to the higher school, it's not the intelligence, more like they've been just practicing something, but the mind itself is not really open in a way. It's just like you kind of like a parrot.
Yeah.
You just molded in something,
I think it's kind of like this difference between like picking something up through experience and through the desire to learn something versus being forced to do it and being forced to learn the theory and not really understanding like what that actually means.
I guess where I was trying to get with that is more than when you push a kid at a certain age, you just make them think that they are intelligent, but actually they are empty. You let someone just grow itself, the natural intelligence and the natural curiosity will bring you more, not maybe instantly, but the growth is going to be exponential when you grow up because you're learning by yourself. You're learning your own way. You're not just copying. You're just being open with, you open your mind. But I always loved science. But why I love science? Because it was just like, I wanted to know how this goes, how this work, how this, this kind of like trying to understand stuff.
It's very interesting how you say you love science,
I do.
but you're a guitarist.
There's a lot of science in playing guitar.
Is there?
Well,
I know there's technique.
there's technique, but
There's
if you
technique and
put it in a certain way, I would say like everything is science.
Yeah.
I guess,
But it's arts.
it's art.
It's
but
art, art,
is
but art.
science is art for me. Like
Science is art.
science is art because I guess people like Newton, we have such big imaginative minds. That's why we get outside the box.
Yeah.
People like Einstein would be like such great artists. Like they think about stuff
Yes.
outside the box. They're
Yes.
just not like calculating or.
Well, I do know that so on the art versus science like paradigm, when Isaac Newton was like developing stuff, or when Einstein was developing stuff, right? Like he was running experiments, thousands and thousands and thousands, and when he used to go to his other science colleagues, they would call him crazy, right? And And so his other colleagues would consider the work that he was doing was art because he wasn't following conventional techniques. He wasn't following the textbooks.
Because you're following stuff that is already pre-built, so you can't really
Correct.
bring the new stuff.
Correct. So that's where like if what he was doing was art over here and we've got the existing science catalog, right? It took him like 10,000 experiments to prove something. And then he went to his colleagues and he said, look at this. And they would like read it and then they would like pass it amongst each others and da da da. And then the ideas that he created moved across to science.
If you think even right now, we think that we are really advanced, but actually we are not.
Oh,
This is
shit.
a thing that, honestly, like maybe it's been exponentially, like I would say, using the old technologies still right now,
Yeah.
like the 60s technology. We're still doing the propulsion, so we don't have any other stuff. So we still, everything's just the 60s technology.
Yeah.
We'll have to have those people that are dreamers
Yeah.
to create that new thing, If you think about our head, our brain, okay, it's just like, how much, we are not overheated, yeah? 37 degree,
Yeah.
so much song, we're processing so much thing quicker than a computer.
Yeah.
So if we could kind of like, maybe they're doing it. I'm not sure. I'm not following now. Just like harvest this kind of technology and
Yeah.
implementing that. I think they're doing it, but I'm not following anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, look, they have done the first Neuralink, like patient 1, patient 0, whatever
Mhm.
patient number is, where he's a quadriplegic and they've attached a microchip into the brain and he's like playing games on a computer, like without his limbs, right? He's just like blinking and stuff like that. But no, I think you're exactly right in because I read somewhere or I listened to a podcast and they were talking about the speed at which technology is improving and moving is so fast. It is having an impact on us because our bodies haven't really changed in thousands of years.
Very true.
Our brain hasn't really changed in thousands of years. Yes, we've gotten smarter in terms of how to use the brain, but in terms of like its biology, it hasn't really changed.
Yes.
And so, what this speaker was talking about was like in terms of like some of the issues socially and personally that kind of like is coming up to do with like mental health and like stuff like that. It's probably because technology has moved so fast, our bodies and our brains can't keep up. And so it then creates, potentially like these issues, for individuals. But I think like, yeah, I think people just need to relax.
There's a lot of people like me that just relax and watch. That's why I'm telling you right now. In the
Yeah.
days, I used to just like check all the innovations and trying to follow as
Yeah.
much. I'm not a scientist or whatever. It's just like interested. I'm just like very curious. I just want to
Yeah.
extrapolate and
Yeah.
just like you said that, yeah, 79, 75, yeah. All the movies that we've watched today is reality, kind of like Knight Rider. Um, uh, all this fiction,
Airwolf,
Airwolf,
A-Team.
A-Team, whatever. All this technology that was in those movies inspired all these kids to put that in practice and create those. Now it's not. It's reality. It's there.
Yeah.
It's like in the days we were like, oh, fancy, wow.
Yeah.
So now today it's just on the street. Tesla, cars and
Yeah.
technology, and
Yeah.
I was on the phone just trying to reach your location. It's like this piece of equipment. It's like, man,
Actually, so the Knight Rider guy,
Kit,
I saw it.
David,
Yeah, David Hasselhoff.
was Hoff.
I saw a meme, and it said David Hasselhoff was the first man to have a smartwatch because he was
true.
he was talking
That's
into his
true.
watch, yeah,
That's true.
and now we can do it.
That's why I was saying art is science. Jules Verne, French guy, like thinking something going to the moon. He was like under the sea, all these under the earth.
Yeah,
So these people, somehow they inspire people to, okay, maybe you have a scientific brain, but you need something to inspire that.
yeah,
So I guess this is where art is great.
yeah,
It's already 2000 Odyssey, whatever it is. All these great movie that was produced kind of like opened people's mind. So, okay, you want to create new stuff. Okay, me and you kind of, okay, we are very intentional, we're gonna create stuff. What do we create? Like again, this guy, maybe Elon Musk, seen the Kit guy, the Knight Rider. I want to produce something like that.
yeah,
Created a dream, something happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So kind of like, even if you think about, I guess that a lot of musicians are so creative that they can really, the essence of creating or technology will come from people that are creative. Will always be. If you think about something, it will happen. Not now, but take time. But just thinking about it, like, okay, a concept. So just putting that concept that is out of the box, people start thinking about it. You just go in that direction. Take years, but it will happen. And now it's happening very fast as well. So we need more people to think. So guitarist, you're telling me scientist, yeah? So Brian May, I can tell you that, astronomer, Queen guitarist. Yeah, doctor in astrology.
yeah,
So after being like the famous guitarist in the world for Queen, so he went to do his astrology thing. But he's like,
yeah.
I guess there's a parallel there. There's definitely a parallel there.
I think so. What's interesting is, so I started this podcast in December, and what I've uncovered so far is that every guest that I've had on will talk about both sides of science and art to a certain level, to a certain degree. And I think all of that comes back to our biology.
Definitely.
We have two sides to the brain,
Very true.
right? And so I think what's interesting is if you aren't doing something like extremely creative, like being a guitarist or being a photographer, there would be some aspects of what you do on a day-to-day level or from a hobby or from whatever that would be a level of creativity that you would be engaging in, but you may not see it. You may not understand it like that. So yeah, like it's just super interesting for me to be able to talk to so many different people and reflect on like these findings,
Like you said, I guess. Just say music itself.
Yeah.
Music is not something that it was before even we talk. So there was music before language. So this is what inspired language actually. Music, kind of like, our like neodental whatever they were doing, kind of a music. So
Listening to nature.
listening to nature. If you think about the wind itself, there's some frequencies, there's some vibration. It's all vibration anyway. So
Mm.
vibration, we can't hear it here. Earth is vibrating. Everything's vibrating. We have heartbeat 60 per minute. You know what I mean? Things like that. So it's
Mm.
all vibration.
Mm.
Vibration is energy. So kind of like we say, like, if things are vibrating, we're creating energy.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
if you're thinking with that, so kind of, like, we kind of mix it up. But saying that, like you said, I don't. I think everyone is born with a need to do some kind of art. We might, maybe it's a word.
Yeah.
It's a word, art,
Mm.
but a certain type of thing that you'll do to express your feelings, emotion in a
Mm.
creative way.
Mm.
So we might call it art, or like people call something jazz. It's just a music. People improvising that, yeah.
Mm.
So some people just learn it or whatever, but actually the essence of doing jazz is more like creating on the stance, like kind of like improvising now in
Mm.
the moment.
Mm.
But people take years to kind of like create that language and build the vocabulary through other people, how they play, how they do stuff.
Yeah.
But then you'll have to have your own language, like me and you talking.
Yeah.
This is improvising actually.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same thing. So we kind of like we learn the language ABCD, then we paraphrasing and kind of like right now I've learned how to read. When I came in Australia, I couldn't even talk English. So.
Just French.
Yeah, just French. Ah, bonjour, bonjour.
Bonjour,
Bonjour,
oui,
comment
oui.
ça va? Et oui,
Oh, yeah.
et oui, c'est bien et tout, tu vois. Ah, ouais, mais, see, the brain just switched. It's amazing how the brain switched. Even when I go back home, the brain switch again,
Really?
You have to. When I
Why?
get, it's just,
And is it a conscious thing, or does it just is just automatic?
it's automatic. I think every language have its own way and behavior and things as well.
Yeah.
There's a way of talking. There's a way, even the English language, like you would talk here, is a different English, and then you go on the streets, is a different English. So there's a bit of a switch if you think about it.
Mm.
Your behavior and look, being in front of camera right now, you behave. You talk in a certain way.
Mm.
Being with your friend, you talk in a certain way. It's still English, but you know what I mean.
Mm.
The communication is different.
Yeah.
But you try to be authentic with yourself, though.
How did you find moving here, not knowing how to read or write English, and then
Well,
learning
It's-
it?
I would say that in our system, Mauritius have English language as official language.
Yep.
But we don't practice it. We are more like a francophile country. So francophile, I can't remember, like we talk French. All our TV programs in French.
Oh.
Music, talk French. Everything's French oriented. Yeah.
Right.
So even when we had our independence, let's talk about Mauritius. Mauritius is like being taken by first people to come there was Portuguese.
Yes.
Then you have the Dutch. The Dutch started a small colony. They couldn't really manage. They eat all the dodos. Internet gone. So then
And then the Dutch moved to Indochina, and
Indochina.
they colonized Indonesia.
Actually, they just left. They couldn't survive there. They was like
Yeah.
they were fighting between themselves, and they couldn't maintain the colony.
Yeah.
Then the French came in. The
Yeah.
French brings the slaves and all this stuff, and then the English kind of like took over Mauritius.
Mm-hmm.
But when they took it, the French administration was so strong, so they didn't really change anything. They just took the country, but it was still ruled under French administration.
Right.
So that's why we kind of like we never ever been an English country.
Right. So you've just kept the French heritage
Yes,
because of the strength
of
the
management. It's just like the culture and everything was there.
Yeah.
It was set. It was already settled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they couldn't really change that at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So saying that Matthew Flinders was in Mauritius in prison for a long time too.
Right.
Yes, Matthew Finders from Australia, the guy. So
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
in prison there because again it was a British and thing. He was like,
Yeah.
the war and during World
So
War
you
50.
learn English, you just didn't speak it.
We don't speak English. Like even if we listen to English, it's that BBC English. You know what I mean? So kind of like yeah. And then we just
That's not really English.
oh well.
I mean,
don't
it's
know.
TV. It's TV English.
Yeah, but this is what you hear, and it's amazing. It's what come in through your ear that you learn.
Yeah.
So when you come in Australia again, being exposed to that language, well, this is
That-
how you learn it.
Yeah, that would have been a huge
It is
because
It's-
we do speak it a certain way here.
yes, and the worst thing was being a musician. With a few months when I came here, playing with people like you just go to rehearsal. You just like they try to make you understand, they make you comfy here. Go to a pub, start playing. After a few drinks, man, it's all like mate, buddies, and I'm like, I was like, honestly, the communication was more like, yeah, yes. It's kind of like it took years to really tune to that
Right,
language.
right.
It take a while to tune.
Mm,
But once you tune, you know what I mean?
mm,
But my accent is still like very strong from Mauritius, you know what I mean? Because I came here when I was 30. So did we change? We just switch a train. So let me talk about Mauritius again.
okay.
So Judex Rose. Go back. Let's go back. Let's go back in time.
Welcome, Judex Rose.
Judex Rose back in the future. Okay. So Judex Rose, I like science. So let me tell you something. I was first in the SC exams in science
Yeah.
in Mauritius. So coming from a really kind of like modest background, it was something good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So keep pushing. And then I always took all the opportunities in my way. That's why I'm here today. Like I couldn't even dream when I was a kid getting in a plane. You just watch them in the, like kites. It's like,
Really?
yeah. No, this is not something for me.
Ah.
Like people in our environment or where we were living is something you just watch in the sky.
Yeah.
And maybe you just go to the airport and drop an auntie or something. That's it. This is where you watch a plane. You never even think about
Yeah.
getting in the plane. You won't have this opportunity. It's not for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So kind of like in my life, I took a lot of opportunities. They came my way, and I just pushed the door at the proper time. It's like all this opportunity came there,
Mm.
but I didn't kind of like I pushed those door of opportunity to be there today.
Mm.
And that's the truth.
So, so you were in Mauritius till you were 30,
Yes.
and when did music kind of come into your life?
Dad was a musician, so we come from a musical family.
Okay.
Granddad was as well musical family,
Yeah.
a musician. But dad was like pretty much very good musician,
Yeah.
playing in resorts there, this is where you play and had a lot of friends. And he wanted actually to go in the police band, which was like a big thing in the days.
Yeah.
But I think he didn't had the height or something like that. He was pretty short. A short guy or whatever. I think they tried to make him go through, but being a person of principle, he told me he didn't want to go through. Kind of
Right.
like in the days you could manage to go through.
I think it's so interesting. Like you had to be a certain height to be a policeman.
Yes, so to be in the police force, you had to be like 175 or 170. I can't remember exactly. Yeah, 170.
Yeah.
I myself had just made it back there.
Yeah.
Like 170. Like I had so many funny stories about this thing. So Judex Rose again. Why do I talk about my in third person? I like him. Anyway,
So your dad was a musician.
Dad was
And so
musician.
he would always like
Was-
play music, and he was always playing
He
instruments.
pushed me when I was a kid to try to play music, but I hate it as well.
Right.
Guitar was always behind the doors. Would never ever liked. I wasn't interested.
Yeah.
But maybe when I was 13, I remember one day. So getting to high school right now, and I remember one day he told me, when you buy things in Mauritius now, it's all higher purchase in the days. You couldn't just buy them like just go in a shop. So you had to pay monthly or something like that, a small fee to just like, you own the thing maybe into 24 months like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I remember I went to a place called Kalachan back in Mauritius in the shop.
So
And
you were 13.
yeah.
Yep.
And I remember I was paying something, but then I remember that TV playing, and I saw a guy playing a guitar. I can't remember I paid anything. I was just stuck in that moment. I couldn't, it was like it froze me up, and it was Dire Straits playing Brothers in Arms.
Oh, yeah.
I watched that clip and I was like, I was gone. I was gone. I was like, that's the power of music.
Yeah.
That's the power of music. Since then, I got home, kind of like trying to get that guitar out of the door. Like Dad didn't string the guitar, so I was like, "How do you string a guitar?" He was like, "I can see his smirk kind of in the side of his face
Yeah.
because I was trying to get into music, and he was happy in a way."
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is how I get into music, and I think music got me out of trouble as well in a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, keep me music kind of like make you think differently in a way. And
I think just going back to when you were 13 and you saw the Dire Straits playing on the TV, it obviously, and we spoke a little bit about vibration and frequency, and maybe what happened was it kind of like tapped into something that was in you.
that frequency,
Yeah.
it was the moment. I still remember that.
Which then, I think obviously resonated with you and unlocked something inside to the point where you can still remember that moment.
It is
You know.
experience, like like people live experience.
Yeah.
For me, it was that experience. Like you have a few experiences in your life that you just like you can't forget.
Yeah, and Dire Straits was such a formidable like band
It was,
in
what I mean?
the 80s.
Look,
Like my dad was always playing Dire Straits, and
to be honest, right now, where I am right now, I still listen a bit, but it's not the music. But your music grow, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in the days, that music, I still sometimes I go back to that music because if that music somehow touch me, if I do music like that, and one day I can touch someone in a certain way like that, this is why I do music too. You know what I mean? Somehow like transfer that energy. That's more than enough for me. And this is why I play music actually.
it's rewarding and it's satisfying.
It is. It is.
Mm.
Every time you touch in an instrument, it's like
I thought you were going to say every single time you touch a person.
it is
No,
a person.
we're talking about.
That guitar always been on my bed.
Yeah.
So kind of like sleep with a guitar. As a guitarist, you sleep with guitars, like they are. You wake up.
Do you dream about them?
Yes. Let me tell you a story about dreaming about guitars. Affordability. You in Mauritius, there's only maybe 2 or 3 guitar shops.
Mm.
You go and do the thing, how do you call it? Window leaking. You just dream about them. You'll never own them. Yes, that's a reality. It's like to own something like a Strat guitar, Fender Strat. People maybe have to work for maybe 10 years to own that.
Wow.
This is how much.
Wow.
So that built my first guitar, electric guitar, because he used to build his guitar in the days. So he built my first guitar, which was like a Strat copy, which I really like because I would call it Knopfler used to play a Schecter, which is not a Fender.
Yeah.
So Schecter guitar getting a bit technical right now.
That's
a,
okay.
yeah, a Schecter, which was like a copy of the Fender. You know what I mean?
Right.
So kind of like I was like, oh yeah. So kind of like I always thought about that box because people that look, I don't only play guitar. I understand how to build guitar, to tune them, how they work,
Mm.
and I know people like again, people that hustle. They become better in a way. Even sorry again on that thing. Brian May, he couldn't afford a guitar as well. So talking about Brian May, so his dad made that guitar and still unique. No one play that guitar and except himself.
Mm.
There's some uniqueness about some. How would I put that?
Uh, I agree. There is definitely some. I, it's uniqueness, but also kind of this special connection between the person who's made the guitar and the person who's playing the guitar, and to create sound that
Ugh.
then people will enjoy.
Leo Fender. Sir, never talked to you before. You should be like high in heaven right now. I still, when you go and you say, if I dream about guitar,
Yeah.
I do. I did a long time. I remember still when we were building that guitar. Before that guitar started playing, in my head, I was like having the sound of that guitar.
Really?
Yes, this is like you. It's like you want that guitar so much. It's like when you're gonna get that, you're gonna be like the greats. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just because you don't have it.
Yeah.
People that just go and okay, like my son myself, like he want to play guitar. Get him a guitar and he's already he can play it. Get it out of the shop. But there's no anticipation. There's no value to that instrument for them. Like even myself right now, be honest with you, I own a lot of guitars since I came in Australia now. But it's not the same way that I value the first guitar that I had.
Mm. I think because it means more.
It does mean more.
It means more.
But someone again, let's go to Mark Knopfler. Okay, let's see a Strat guitar. Have you ever watched a Strat guitar in profile? Not in face, in profile.
No.
It looks like an ovni.
Mm.
The shapes,
Right.
you know, the cuts when it goes on your body,
Yeah.
cut on your for your wrist.
Yeah.
This shape, man, it's like something out of this universe, man. you know, honestly, why don't they do other shape of guitar? Like you have different shapes of guitar, true, but it's still based on that model.
It's
You know what I mean? Like basically the shape is almost the same.
don't change something that's not broken.
Here we go.
If the shape is
Almost perfect.
almost perfect or used so often, there must be something right with the shape.
That's great.
Yeah.
So those guitar that we're using now, these are the guitar that was made in the 60s.
Mm.
The amp that we want to use now, we want to use those amp that was made in the 60s. The technology is all 60s. We kind of like, we have all this technology right now, yeah? Great, I love them. To record and everything. I do recording and all this thing too.
Mm.
But our ears somehow is so accoutrement to this great recording in the 60s and 70s that we can't get away with those instruments now.
Mm.
So even music, that's what I'm still doing music. When I think about music, we're stuck in a place that we still kind of like, we're not innovating much.
Mm.
Those days is a time now where people are having more opportunity. Like you have so many music coming out compared to the days. But nowadays, music is not really as important or it's not as valued because it doesn't have any value because it's like in finance when you have too much of the stuff, you don't value it anymore.
Mm.
And the innovation is not coming as well as you want people to maybe we don't value people that are innovating enough. We just like mainstream, all the same music, six chord, like, same chord progression, and we just happy with that. But music should evolve. That's why, when we talk about Miles Davis and things like that, people don't understand his music. It's not about just improvising. It's about innovation. That's what we need. Doing, let's say, you watch this movie. I can't remember his name now. Seven Element, was it?
Fifth Element.
Fifth Element, Seven Element. I can't remember now. Bruce Willis is
Fifth Element.
Yeah, Fifth Element. You seen that girl singing there? And there was Lenny Kravitz.
Yeah.
But if you think about that, that's kind of like, it's not only singing. There's communication too. Music is communication anyway. So we could do much better right now sonically. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe it hasn't innovated as much because the way that we communicate hasn't really changed.
Things are changing too fast in a way, and people want to hear the same thing and comfortable with that sound. It's like, again.
Oh no, I guess I'm talking more about producing music versus receiving music. The way we receive music is exactly the same.
True.
So, other than producing different sounds, what other innovation aspects could be taken? I think it's interesting. I think it was like in the 2000s, maybe in the 90s as well. You started to see some collaboration between artists, and particularly the interest genre that I had was like R&B and rap, and then you would see someone collaborate with a country and western.
Oh yes,
and do country and western
crossing.
Crossing.
Yeah.
This cross collaboration. Yeah. And I always thought, oh, that's a bit weird. Like, why are they doing that?
Getcha.
But in actual fact, it's actually really smart.
It is.
Because they are creating a new type of music. They are creating a new type of genre to allow people to appreciate something different, but they're also tapping into like the rap artists, tapping into the country and western fan base, and the country and western is tapping into the rap artist fan base. So if you get two really big people, let's say 1 million fans here and 1 million fans here, and you cross, next thing you know, we've got like 2 million on both sides, right? So
very true.
It's it's very interesting, like business aspect from a diversification point of view.
That's the thing. There's two things, yeah. There's mainstream music. Like you said, there's the business music, business or whatever. But then there's music itself. Like, music can be innovated. As, let's say, those music that plays on the mainstream, they're not gonna, it's all based in a way, it's for consummation and to make money, to generate money. Somehow it has to please to a broad audience.
Yeah.
Now, to have those music that those people that, let's say, those people that want innovation or want to hear something else, there's not many of them. But you have to have those musicians or this technician that is trying to change the aesthetic or the change the sonic or the changing the timbre or whatever in those music to produce thing for the future generation, because all we're gonna just listening to the. I love Beatles, but if people didn't innovate, we will still listening to Beatles right now.
Mm.
So you need voice like Bowie. You need people like, I don't know, like Peter Gabriel. Those innovators, like again,
Mm.
like we were talking about, um, even the punk music. When you think about it, I I come from a place that I never like actually punk music. I never liked that. I was like, what's the noise? Man, that's just noise.
It's like angry music.
Yeah. But then that's why you learn, yeah? So
Yeah.
you kind of like, oh, what is the purpose of that music was different from what I was expecting. It's not about, it was something loud to make people aware. It
Mm.
was like something loud to make people, they were just communicating
Mm.
the anger about
Mm.
the society, about
Mm.
where they're living. So it's kind of rap.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So
It's just a different style.
it's this different style. So when you kind of educate yourself in a way, you kind of open your mind and understand and kind of like accepting
Yeah.
different cultures, different.
Yeah.
This is how you grow, and you become richer in a way, and you appreciate more stuff. So I reckon the best thing to do in life to try to understand things that you don't like.
Mm. It's very hard for people to do that, though.
Yes, because why there's a certain population or whatever will understand the music, but you won't. You have to understand the perspective. I don't say that I love punk music, but I understand. I kind of like I get what they're trying to do, and if they're doing a good one, I'm like, thumbs up, man. Good job. Like yeah, I appreciate what you're doing. But it's not really things that maybe myself I'm gonna do. Things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I kind of like appreciate where they're coming from and where they're going, like the passion, why they're doing that, and why they're doing it. That's the more important thing. Like they're doing it for a certain purpose.
Yeah.
Music are done for purpose. Like I myself. So let's say now I'm gonna tell you, like I produce music, I write music. So kind of like when I write music, it's not like I write music just like, okay, I'm just thinking today, I'm just gonna do a sound today, I'm just gonna do something.
Mm.
So there should be like a story or something that's been bothering me or something like therapeutic for myself just to get in that studio just to write something. But there's always a story.
Mm.
There's something that's affecting you in your life.
Yeah. So it's so the songs that you write are based on things that are going on in your day to day.
Yes, it does.
And do you schedule time to write, or do you wait for the inspiration to come and then you're like,
I don't really schedule writing,
mm.
but it's always brewing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like 24/7 brewing. And that's my writing actually. I think this is what is writing. It's kind of like an idea or something like that.
Mm.
And then I just get in the studio. It can be like maybe just inspired by a chord progression or inspired by that's it's more like stories those days, like there's stories. I like stories. Or I like something that's bothering me or something that I watch in the TV I don't like or something like that. That would be like, how to talk about it or how to just like express myself.
Mm.
And well, I don't schedule that. It's more like, okay. And once I get in that mode in the studio, I'm more like how would I put that? Those autistic. Not I shouldn't be saying that, but the autistic part of myself, it's like I'm gone. I will just like before I don't finish that or get to a point where the music, I'll be like in the studio all day, all night.
Right.
Yeah. Until it's kind of like get to that form that I want. And then I'll leave it. Like
I would say that it's the passion in you.
maybe
The passion, the drive. Like you obviously, like you come across as someone who is super charismatic and you're like a very deep thinker
I do love it.
in what you do, and everything is intentional, and you do things with love and kindness
Oh,
and,
yes.
and things like that. And so I would say that when you get to a point where you're writing, you're just like so in love with the process of writing it, and
Oh, yeah.
you know, you get so obsessed with like finishing it.
It is sometimes, to be honest with you, as I love that studio,
Mm.
but it can be very intense. You just want to get out of it as well
Mm.
because it can absorb you so much time and energy there. It's just a place that it's a creative place, but it can take so much out of you as well. Like you have to be
Mm.
careful in a way.
Mm.
Yeah, because you could spend hours with nothing. When I say nothing, it's like you think you're doing something when the following days like it's not really much.
Mm.
It's not as much productive as you thought it was.
Mm.
Maybe it was in a certain way because you're building up. You don't lose stuff. You're always like building for the next one, or it's the process.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I I get what you're saying, because I was a photographer for 11 years, and when I started, like I didn't. My dad wasn't a photographer. I mean, he was a hobby photographer, but he was like living overseas or whatever. He wasn't like really in my life, and I got interested in cameras because of my kids and taking photos of my kids, and then when I divorced, I like wanted to get even more into it, so I got more into it, and I found that the creative process that you go through a lot of doubt, you go through a lot of highs, you go through a lot of lows,
yeah,
and your confidence around what you're trying to do is always like challenged by other people, but also by yourself. So it's very hard until you are happy with your style.
right.
And so that's what I found the most interesting piece around photography and the process that I went through. I'm not saying that this is the process that everybody would go through, but for me, I found that I was like always trying to improve, or like try different techniques, or like do something different in like the kind of like cooking, right? Like in the recipe, change an ingredient or change a way that you cook that ingredient, or like change, your lighting or your camera setting, or like all this type of stuff. And there's so many different things going on in my head until I got comfortable with what I was producing, and I felt like there was enough experience and knowledge that I would put into it so that people could appreciate it. And then I got to a point, and like I would always, because I've lived overseas, I knew that there was like a whole other world of photographers outside of Australia that were doing amazing things, and I would like watch and like see the stuff that they were producing like throughout the year, at each month. And I'd be like, oh, I really want to do that. Or that's really cool, like, so I would try to like copy them. And then probably the last couple of years of my photography career, I started seeing other people do my photos. And I was like, oh, that's so cool.
It's kind of like you're inspiring
Yeah.
person now.
And I would get people contacting me saying, "Hey, have a look at this photo. I thought it was you, but it's someone else doing your style." And I was like,
Yep. So I made it.
"That's cool."
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's true, man. And
Um,
you know, I think it would be with every art as well.
yeah.
I think it takes time to find yourself. That's one of the, the biggest thing. I think in art or when you're expressing yourself,
Yeah.
kind of like you just said that we try to copy certain artists or whatever. We doing this thing, yeah.
Yeah.
But I myself, like I'm putting myself in the music thing right now, yeah. Uh, I used to just write music like because I love this one, I love this one, I love this one, I love this one. But that doesn't bother me at all anymore now. What's
Mm.
happening now is kind of like I found myself.
Mm.
I think it's only like maybe 3 or 4 years now that I found myself
Mm-hmm.
because you're still evolving all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think where I am right now, I find myself in those years now.
Mm-hmm.
And before I was writing different stuff, different style, different. But nowadays, what I'm doing, I can still write the same. I love jazz, I love reggae, I love whatever, all of the other music, yeah. But how do you put all these things in context as an artist?
Mm.
That's the thing because you can easily people just like they can't really put a package on you. They can't really see who you are. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So, like the last 2 years, actually, I found out that actually I am a migrant. Who I am, and I'm writing music concerning migrant issue. So most of the time I'm writing now, I'm writing in the perspective of a migrant and seeing people's like issues in everyday life,
Mm.
or I'm talking about as a migrant the perspective where I come from, of reminiscing stuff in the days, but
Mm.
it's all connected to that migrant guy, kind of like
Mm.
there's something there that is like it's guided, like it's not just scattered there. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So even if it can do a love song, but still it would be like in the perspective of someone that's been migrated and how he's
But-
living his life or
but
something.
you know you're not a migrant, right?
Well, I am one.
No, but you're Judex Rose,
Oh yes, I forgot that actually.
an artist,
An artist. That's true. That's
an
true.
artist that's passionate about things that are going on in your life.
That's true.
And yes, you did migrate to Australia. So, of course, if you're passionate about, that experience, it would make sense that you would find solitude in developing, writing songs, making music about that. Let's just say you were a migrant and you were a artist that see, Larry, you were an artist that loved writing about, I don't know, something that's going on in the UK,
Yeah.
right? I would kind of go, why is he writing about stuff that's going on in the UK? He's not in the UK. He's in Australia. So there would kind of like be a disconnect. So the fact that you found yourself, writing and creating from a migrant's perspective just shows how passionate you are about what you're doing.
That's true in a way,
Mm.
but it's still, I keep it universal
Yeah.
in a way. Like the stories come from this place,
Yes.
but it's kind of like I still keep it universal.
Yeah.
I don't really. I put myself in it in some of the story, but still, I think it's my story, but then I think about other stories as well.
Yeah.
Like, you're inspired by
Yeah.
that story.
Yeah.
You put yourself there, you understand what's happening,
Yeah.
and then you kind of talk about it. And sometimes you see yourself walking in those shoes.
Mm.
And this is where it kind of like it hit home, you know what I mean? Hit
Mm.
yourself and things like that. And 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 there's things that happen in your life as well that influence you. Like last year, next this Friday, my dad is kind of like 1 year since he passed away.
Oh shit. I'm sorry.
But saying that, just like this
Mm.
is something that really inspired me as well to write music.
Mm.
And you feel like you've grown up.
Mm.
I was until my dad passed away. I felt that I was still like the boy, like kind of like
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
you know.
Yeah.
But now there's like I used to talk to him every weekend and thing like that. So kind of like there's
Ah.
no one to talk about this kind of stuff. Like it's gone. So it's really step to grow up, and I kind of like when you write a song about that or something, you just like you put this perspective.
Mm.
But again, you mix reality with fiction as well. A song
Yeah.
is all not all. How would I put that? It's not like an autobiography. It's more like a mixture of experience with other experience,
Mm.
and maybe experience that you expect as well.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like
Mm.
there are songs that are just like raw as they are, just like a story I'm just telling you right now. But there are songs that are mixed because you can't. Some songs you can't really. It's like you have this vulnerability that you
Mm.
can't expose yourself as much as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes as an artist, it's like as much as you want to do it, but you still have these barriers.
Yeah.
That you just like put. It's like you can't expose yourself that much.
Mm.
Like let's say someone like um Will Smith, Sam Smith. Like you see like how vulnerable he is. Like he's putting everything on the plate in front of you.
Yeah. He's so.
It's just there, everything. You know what I mean? Like
What
it's
you
life.
see is what you get.
Yes, but I can't be that kind of artist as well. I'm more like I love that. That's most
The
honest thing.
vulnerability.
Yeah, that's the most honest thing to do. But I myself, I can't find myself doing that. It's like I feel myself naked.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
and I kind of like I try to protect myself as much as I write or whatever. Still, I
Mm.
still like have this character,
Mm.
kind of like. But you put yourself, but it's kind of like it's inspired, but it's not like you telling like a story. Like I'm telling you like what I did yesterday, what I did today, or what
Yeah.
I did. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
This is my life. I did.
Well, it's the
mean.
whole creative process. Like you choose to include either aspects of yourself or aspects that you want to give to the listener from an experience point of view, what emotions you're trying to get them to feel
That's
through your emotion, through your music,
exactly.
through what you're writing or what you're playing or whatnot, So
And-
you are the artist. You have the creative license to
Yeah. And-
create what you want.
It's not only like you said as well. It's not only the lyrics, so it's music as well.
Yeah.
So there's music that take a big place as well.
Yeah.
So sometimes you have a lot. I find that now I write so many songs. My draft could be like 2 page, but then you
So
have to put a song. It's just only like 4 lines in a chorus, another 4 lines in a verse,
Right.
and then another 4 lines in, let's say, a bridge. You don't really say much. It's as much as you think in a song. That's why like those artists that can put as much information in one song in those 4 lines,
Yeah.
in that format, they're great artists.
Yeah.
And this is what I think you, as an artist as well, you try to get, like putting as much information in those 4 lines
Right,
and
right,
emotion.
right.
People think like a song, like there's a lot of lyrics as much, but the format actually is just like intro, kind of like, yeah, bit of whatever you say, whatever, and then you introduce the topic that you're talking, whatever, you get into it, and then you kind of reply in the chorus kind of stuff,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then you get back in just telling the story again, and then reply again, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then a bridge kind of like just like trying to just like what's your resolution, what you want to do, or giving your this is what I see, you know what I mean? And then actually it's not much. That's why actually you can write a lot of song.
Right.
Like even in one topic to develop what you can have so many songs. Like in my draft sometimes when I write a song, it's like, man, oh this where do I put that? Can't- yeah, I still have more things to say.
It sounds like the process of writing a song can produce so many different songs.
Yeah, because the thing is that if you are an artist like Bob Dylan, which I appreciate, but I don't. Oops. Yeah. I'm not like an artist like Bob Dylan that I want to just like. Look, I love him in a way, but just like you just like at a certain point you just lost in the whole thing. I like music that have groove, that have space.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain type of music that I like, so this kind of music that I produce as well. But in those type of music that I write, there's not much stories. Like the storytelling is like you have to really compress things to put them in that song. Yeah, like each word count in a way. Yeah, you have to kind of like, and not only the words. Now the music kind of like this is what is actually the amplifier, kind of conveying that emotion or that story.
Yeah.
This is what is kind of like amplifying what you're saying. If you just have the words itself, sometimes it's not as powerful.
Yeah.
That music, that even beat or whatever you call that, this is what actually give a dimension to what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like in a package.
If there was one artist or band that either dead or alive that you could sit down with and have dinner with, who would it be and why?
Oh my God. That's a difficult question. That's a really hard one, Andy.
Yeah.
That's a really hard one. There's so many of them.
So many?
Yes.
Okay.
But okay, let's put it like that.
So 13-year-old Judex, who would it be?
Oh man, Mark Knopfler.
Mark Knopfler.
Just give me a chance to just touch your guitar. I'll feel like I'm God. just touch my guitar. I feel like,
why?
man, this man actually he plays fingerstyle. Yeah, he's got a particular way of playing that is his own technique. Yeah?
Yeah.
And I still feel that the way that he's playing, it's a bit like Chet Atkins as well.
Yeah.
They're so close to the instrument because they don't use a pick.
Yeah.
And you can feel that his way, there's so much dynamic in his playing.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't sing that lot. His singing's not great if you think about Mark Knopfler. But the expression that he delivers the lines, it's so expressive.
Yeah.
And I think the melodies, the way that he plays, the way that he gets the story through his guitar, man, he's still one of the greatest, I think. Yeah.
All right. 20-year-old Judex.
Oh,
Who would it be?
oh, that's a mix there. Big mix. Maybe, oh man. I would say Coltrane.
Coltrane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I love, Max Miller.
Yeah.
Something like in the jazz scene, you know. This is in the 20s, kind of like my heroes was the jazz player, Dexter Gordon,
Yeah.
Thelonious Monk, Dizzy Gillespie, something like that in this alley, or guitarist, we would say like Lee Ritney, you know. George Benson. I met him
Did you?
Yeah. Oh, I
Wow.
won't tell you the whole story, but kind of like we
Was it
went shopping.
It was a by accident?
No, it wasn't.
Oh, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been like one of my friend came and picked me up home because George Benson needed to talk to me about something. So George, sorry if you're saying that. I'm just disclosing. Yeah. So kind of like you. I had the chance to meet him, and yeah, went shopping, had drinks, and I've been a bit intimate, like in his room, kind of like,
Yeah.
and ask him questions that I really wanted to know, like not just like a fluff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he was really kind and just like he was someone like just like, we'll just tell you all the stories like they are.
yeah.
Now, actually, I see some of his postcard in his podcast, but he's saying was thing now, but thing that I wanted to know.
Ah.
Because like a big artist that he was, I think he was just as same to me. George Benson was as big as Michael Jackson, because produced by Quincy and all these
Yeah,
things. Same thing, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
big pop, big production as well.
I can see this transition from 13-year-old Judex to 20-year-old Judex.
Yes,
But what about 30-year-old Judex?
get a bit more rebel, getting into those heavy sounds again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Metallica, but all these heavy dude. I would go again like Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah.
Good guitarists that are heavy, but I still like the sophistication in the music. You know what I mean? So, what artist would I say? Oh, maybe. Oh, it's Lohan. It's Eric Clapton. Let's say Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
Kind of, great blues player.
And he was so raw and vulnerable in the music that he was producing.
He was.
It's just him and the guitar.
Yes.
And he was talking about, losing his daughter,
Yeah.
and like, it's just so raw.
And the sound that he was producing as well.
Yeah.
Just the sound was so intimate, touch you in many ways.
Yeah.
And simple but sophisticated.
Sophisticated, yeah.
I think that's what I like about even myself when I produce. Like usually I will just go through like things that are really that have consistent like big chords and anything like that, but I simplify them in a way. I don't want people to feel that I'm trying to put sophisticated stuff in my music, but actually come from there. But I try to simplify it in a way to make it very listenable in a way, or digestible. Let's say, you know what I mean? Right, like you said, like someone like Eric Clapton, when you listen to his catalog, you can't. It's such a big catalog. Phil Collins, Sting, like these artists, and well, then I will go with people like Josanna Will, or Weather Report, or all these fusion guys, Mike Stern, fusion music, something like what's his name now, Chilo Gultu, like tabla player, like very technical, I like these people that are doing fusion because they're experimenting.
Yes, they're pushing the boundaries of,
yeah,
I guess, conventional like methods, right?
Yes, kind of like exploring, exploring different perspective or concepts, or so they're kind of pushing the boundaries all the time,
Yeah.
But again, even fusion music, I think it's just reach their limit in a way. So that's why I think like we need to go outside the boxes now, And if you think you go on internet now, there's so many talented people as well. Like there's more talented musicians that in the days, you know what I mean? Now everyone is a good musician. We have to put it like that. But maybe not as much like baggage and consistency and stories, but technically they are good. They have the technical abilities because all these techniques are just there on YouTube, or they're just there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can learn everything off YouTube.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Saying you don't know isn't an excuse anymore.
No, no. So this is where even like my son want to play soccer. I'm like, if you want to learn something, just go on YouTube and try to do it. And like you said, if you're not good enough now, I don't know. There's gonna be like people that's gonna be very good and much more talented because all the informations are there
Mm.
and just instruction. How to do
Yeah. There's instruction, and then there's good instruction,
Yes,
and then there's practice, and then there's good practice.
that's very true. And it's kind of like, if you think about it, that's where university will suck in a way. You have people have to pay a lot of money to go to uni here,
Mm.
but if you find the right information, you can find a lot of them on YouTube nowadays.
Yeah.
But you have to just like maybe kind of like know what you want to learn and find the good stuff. I think this is what university is kind of doing. Like they find the good stuff and just like bringing it together for you in a format, kind of like so that they can deliver that. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a challenge for them very soon.
Well, do you know who Jordan Peterson is?
No, I don't know.
So Jordan Peterson is oh my God, I might get this wrong. Psychologist, psychiatrist. He was a Canadian professor, doctor, was speaking about lots of, like he got into public speaking, and he got into like human behavior and like all this type of stuff. And only last year, or maybe started this year, the medical board in Canada took his license away. But he hasn't practiced in years, right? And he had to go to court and all this type of stuff. He's actually come out with his own academy to teach people. And it's an online university, right? You pay a subscription, or you pay a fee for whatever course that you want to do, but it's utilizing, I think, like a different like technique of learning, because you're taking education from real life individuals who are doing it.
Okay, yeah.
And they're teaching you real life aspects and concepts and things like that. Because I think, sometimes textbooks and stuff that's taught in university is outdated, and it's not as accurate, or relevant, There's also like many years ago, I got into watching a lot of TED Talks. TED as an organization, they run these professional conferences where they get speakers up. And actually, I think I shared a video about grit, Angela Duckworth, on one of my Instagram accounts. That video has been around for like 17 years, and it's still relevant today. So there's so many other like aspects or concepts from other professionals that you can learn from that, potentially, like,
Again, this is a challenge, I think.
Yeah.
Because innovation is coming so fast. So
Yeah.
whatever you're learning as well is can be like really not relevant,
exactly.
So it's kind of like it's whatever you're learning and how you apply it for yourself,
Yeah.
and be aware that the technologies were outside. Look, I'm finishing my degree in music right now in December.
Okay.
But look, we not really implemented with AI, yeah? But this is the future. It is what it is. It's there. So, as I'm not saying that we have to use it to make music, but I'm saying this is a tool. you can use that tool. It's like every tool, like electricity was a tool, yeah. So technology kind of, you have to work with technology.
Mm.
It might be some people use it in a bad way, but I think technology in a way, they kind of like cut the time cost and thing like that. So as well, if you don't do it now, you'll find yourself like everyone's doing it. So people that actually are advanced in what they're doing, they adopt the new technology
Yeah.
as fast as they can,
Yeah.
absorb that, and use it in intelligently, like not like
Mm.
in a way, So
I think it's interesting. So because you're 75 and I'm 79, we were we're in the generation that we grew up in a time where there was no technology and we were still like developing individually, but then technology emerged and we grew with technology. And so the fact that we're in that generation, I think it's interesting you just saying then about sometimes people will use innovation and they'll use technology for bad, but some will use it for good. And it's about how we use it for good and
so
continually use. Yeah.
intention,
It's like, so pre 2000, everything was done on pen and paper. And then computers came. People were like, oh no, they're so scared. Computers are bad, all of that. And then the internet was born. And it was born because scientists in multiple parts of the world wanted to be able to communicate with each other. So they created a network. And that network was the first internet network, right? And then it just grew from there, right? And then in 2000, the .com phase boomed, and everyone was like, "Oh, we need a website. We need a website." Da, da, da. And everyone was like on the websites and like creating websites, and Google. If you remember when Google first came out, people were like, "How do you search for something?" Oh, well, you just type it into Google. Just type it into Google, and you can find stuff. Sometimes you did, sometimes you didn't. It depends on whether or not there was a website,
Yes, true.
right? And then if you wanted to buy something, you'd be like, you go to the website to get the phone number to make the phone call to then order it and
Yeah.
then do the purchase over the phone, right? And then that changed to like,
eBay.
yeah, eBay and like online shopping. And if you went to a website that was selling something that didn't have the ability for you to buy, you wouldn't buy from that website. You go somewhere else. And so we moved from paper-based tactile to information-based, which is the .com website, Google. And now we're in this new age of like being a lot smarter and collaboration around information and sharing of information, or like using the tools to be smarter to get to where we need to get to improve performance or improve our way of life.
Okay.
When ChatGPT came out, I was a little bit like, what's this ChatGPT, right? And then you slowly start seeing the different versions come out. And what I'm seeing is the exact same behavior that when Google came out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know how to put it in. Oh, how do I use it? Da, da, da. Well, you got to practice how to use it to then be able to do the things that everybody else is doing.
Everyone will be definitely going. You can't stop technology.
Yeah.
You can't stop the move. It's like
Yeah.
the move. It's like it's it's the vibration, like we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, it's some way it's produced by bad or wrong for right wrong reason, but it's gonna be there.
Yeah.
It's a tool
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
It's a tool.
If we summarize where we come from, like you say, 75, 79, we have a cathodic tube. That was TV, yeah.
Mm.
So
People were scared of TV because
Yeah.
you know what? They had radio.
yeah. So we have.
Scared of TV. No, let's just listen to the radio.
So you had a TV that maybe you'll have for 10 years long
A-
and something.
And now look at us. We've got TVs in our pockets.
That's it. So kind of like this will last for this technology went for at least in our life for 10 or 15 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
TV was there or something,
Yeah.
and then there was. I remember there was AM radio, and then FM radio just came in.
Yeah.
So just like that. And then you started having those Commodore 68
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Not
Atari.
Atari and all these things.
Nintendo,
Nintendo
64.
And then suddenly you had Pentium 4 kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And even like I remember, so 20 years ago, like I was using Cubase for recording version 5.
Wow.
It was like I'm telling people like they find it hard to record those days in the new DAW,
Yeah.
but it was so much harder in the days because it wasn't as user friendly.
Yeah.
You had to know your stuff to like make this thing works.
Yeah.
Kind of like it's like an old machine, kind of like there was not enough power, there was not enough memory, there was not, but we still managed to make this thing work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you think about, I remember, so I'm talking about 20 years ago now, so 18 years, 20 years ago. I came here 2001 for the first time in Australia, and
Yeah.
then kind of I was watching a friend, and I remember he had a phone that he came from Australia, kind of like he started having like digital display because before that there was the Nokia,
Mm.
like more like how do you call that? I can't remember what's called.
Yeah,
the
yeah, the brick
technology.
phones.
Yeah, brick phones,
Yeah,
but the screen is just like text, you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So it was like the first phone that I remember like having like digital display. I was like, man, it's amazing. And then now to think that every kid just have one of them, have a tablet. So, things are evolving too fast. So not
Yeah, yeah,
too
so
fast, so
It's
fast.
very fast. Yeah.
So if you don't adapt yourself there, you're gonna get lost in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you still need to know your craft. Like I do music, so kind of you need to know the core of your craft,
yeah.
and then use those technology to help you to do your craft. This is what I find.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not like you using that like kind of like cheating, but there's no cheating here. But I'm just trying to. You need to still know your craft.
Yeah.
It's a very important part of what you do. Maybe those days, people that are doing the new one now, maybe there's some of the craft that you used to do what would be irrelevant because machine have took over and they won't know that. But still, having those knowledge,
And it's evolving and creating a new craft, I think.
in a way,
Creating a new craft with the new tools that you have to push the boundaries of whatever it is you're doing,
that's it.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's like if you extrapolate now, they say that they're finding cure so that you don't you're gonna die later in your days. You're gonna be healthier. They're finding something like a gene to make you live longer, like whatever. Finding that secret thing.
Do you want to live longer?
Nah, I'm done. I'll be honest with you. I think I'm gonna turn 50 in January. Yeah, I've seen enough. I'm happy with what I've seen. I'm happy with what I've lived.
You don't want to do more?
Well, that's bonus. That's just bonus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From there, it's gonna be look what I did in my 20s, 30s, 40s, it's not something that I can repeat. You know what I mean? You don't.
you can try to repeat it.
Yeah. Well, we don't have. You know what I mean? We can't. Even the culture.
Yeah.
The culture has changed.
Yeah, the culture's changed.
You know what I mean? I don't feel that I will be very well welcome in that future that we're going. In my own way, you know.
Right.
You know, I won't fit.
Okay.
I might not fit. You know.
Okay.
I will look retro.
Hey,
Which-
have you seen the latest Deadpool and Wolverine movie?
No, actually, I haven't.
No, okay.
I think my kid watched it. Yeah.
Well, Wesley Snipes,
Oh yeah.
who played the original Blade,
Oh yeah.
he was in it.
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is so cool. It's like, because I remember when that movie came out, and it was so different, like vampires, and
Oh,
there was
yeah.
a scene in the
Yeah.
where he was someone, because at the start someone like takes a human to a rave party, you know,
Yes.
and then that rave party, like, it was a bit, the way that it was like shot was that you were following from behind, like as if you were a third person, but then the human didn't really know what was going on and all this type of stuff. And then the sprinklers came on, but it wasn't water. It was blood.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And then they were going to like attack the human, and then bang, like blade
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
out.
Yes. What a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, what a moment, right? So then to see him in, and that they did 2 other movies from the original, but then to see him in a
A new.
2024 movie
Yeah, that's something.
was like so retro,
I know.
you know. And then I saw quite a few articles, because it's had quite a big write up. Blade actually saved Marvel.
He did.
Yeah, because Blade was the very first hero that Marvel came out with. And if
Oh.
that movie didn't do as well as it did, none of the Marvel stuff that we know today would have existed.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So it's
So I think like that first Blade movie made 187 million in the box office, and it
Ooh.
saved
Yeah.
Marvel Productions.
There's a lot of coincidence like that, you know, like
Yeah.
small production that save, you know, the big
Mhm.
one, you know. But yeah.
But yeah, I reckon you would be like him
Oh. Well,
in the future.
that wouldn't be a bad character.
Yeah.
But yeah. I don't know. It's like seeing Clint Eastwood like already grumpy in the new movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, those like Robert De Niro kind of character. Or,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
It's like, well, you know, you've seen them in their prime, but now they're still in the prime, but like very retro, they're vintage now. You know.
Yeah. They can
Yeah.
do what they want now, and like
Yeah.
they can get away with heaps of stuff.
It's like the persona is like attached to all these characters that
Yeah.
they did, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
So, what inspires you as a musician?
I watch a lot of news, which I shouldn't.
You should definitely not watch a lot of news. Why do you watch a lot of news
I'm always curious, like to know what's happening
in the world?
now. Like I'll be on CNN checking stuff. Like right now, what's happening? Change. Like, I know there's so much fake, but
Yeah,
it's
CNN.
just- it's like a.
I just go to TikTok.
Yeah, but it's like a drug in a way.
Yeah.
It's a drug in a way, and it's not good news or bad news anyway. But what inspire me? It's stories.
Yeah.
Stories.
Listening to seeing those different stories that come up.
Yeah, and
Mm.
I think, let's say you see war in Ukraine and Russia. I don't see the war, who's winning, whatever. I'm just seeing the casualties.
Mm.
You see Hamas now with IDF, whatever, Israel. see casualties.
Mm.
So you can't really. I write a song to just try to say, why are you fighting? Why do we need to fight? Stop
Mm.
fighting.
Mm.
Like we just lock in a system that the leaders make brothers and sisters each other.
Mm.
You just like like these people that live here and live here, they are just brothers. But the leaders, we kind of like we brainwash them and just make them fight, you know.
Mm.
And once you start fighting, it's kind of like you just put fire into something, it doesn't stop, and you just keep going. You can go for generation and generation and generation.
Yeah.
It's just the culture, but if you can kind of like talk, I know that in these places it's hard because these people they they have loss in their own family. They
Mm.
have deep scars. How do you kind of like go and pardon? How do you pardon? You say you forgive,
Yeah.
but you don't forget. You know what I mean? So they live with those scars. But you know, in your song, sometimes you can kind of like, in a way, if you express this stuff, it might help. If some people, you know, it might reach.
Mm.
This is a gap because we're always talking about stop the fights. Yeah, good. Stop the fight. Yeah, how do you stop a fight? Oh, just explain like, you just saying like this wound, we understand the wound.
Mm.
Saying like, we understand that, but we're not going to move forward if we don't forgive.
Mm.
And I feel like if we don't forgive each other, it's gonna be the end of the world. This is like from very small structure to the big war. This is like start there, like small one.
Mm.
And
I think it's very hard because obviously there's like a lot of history in like both sides, and
yeah,
you know, a lot of history, a lot of heritage, and you know, there's toing and froing, and yeah, I think I think people just need to like,
but things can change if you go back in history.
yeah,
If you see Second World War,
yeah, things can definitely change.
like Germany is no longer Germany that we know. Japan
Mm.
is no longer the Japan that we know.
Mm.
So things can change.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like, but saying that Israel and things been like going since forever. You know what I mean? But things can change.
Mm. Mm.
And well, if we don't, I think it's forgiveness. It's hard. It's something that is hard to do.
Mm.
It's like we can talk about it. Like we should forget each other. But when they just kill your brother, they just kill your kid.
Mm.
It's that pain.
Mm.
It's like
It's a lot
it's
of pain.
horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. And this is what make you write stuff.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like just feeling that, like being an empath. Like. And again, you write something like that, or sometimes you just inspiration. You write about my father, inspiration. I might write about my son, inspiration. I might
Mm.
write about my friends, inspiration.
Mm.
I can write about even myself, like thinking about the process to be here today, like this just to be here, sitting here with you, Andrew.
Yeah.
If I think about it when I was kid, this is like should be like heaven right now. Are we? Are we? You know what I mean? I mean, Judex being sitting in that couch here, talking to someone, doing a podcast. I don't know.
Yeah, look, I certainly, like, I get it. I definitely didn't think, like, 10 years ago that I'd be sitting here doing a podcast the way that I've been doing it. But I'm also an empath. I also try to listen to what the universe is telling me. Particularly to do with the fact that so 2.5 years ago, my best mate passed away, and he was
Sorry about that.
yeah, thank you. He was the reason why I moved to Melbourne in 2001. I met him in Perth, and he basically he saved my life, getting me to come to Melbourne.
Getcha.
And then, like a year and a half after being here, he moved to the UK for 4 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh? Why? Like, I'm not coming to the UK. And then I almost went to the UK. But he came back. And yeah, so when he passed away, he was sending me messages, and I was kind of like trying to work out what he was saying and all of this, and yeah, some photography opportunities were opening up for me, and I was like, okay, yep, this is definitely him, like type thing. And then most recently, like last year, he was definitely kind of saying that he wasn't happy about the path that I was taking, that I needed to do something different. I needed to tap into another part of my personality. And so like last year I started doing interviews and after like photo shoots and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed it. And I thought, okay, well, I'll do a podcast and I'll set a podcast up. And so I think it's been about 9 or 10 weeks now. I retired from photography. And so I just do this. And I get to sit down with amazing people and listen to your story and ask you questions. And
Thank you for doing that. It's an art as well. It's
Yeah.
like just listening, and you make me very comfortable. Just to, I don't feel like I'm being interviewed, or it's just a chat.
Yeah.
And kind of like there's so much to say, but you just like sometimes, you know, it's I like that format. Let's say it's a format, or
Yeah.
I don't know it's a format, but I like be able to just talk.
Yeah.
It's spontaneously,
Yeah.
just like say what you're
Spontaneous.
thinking at the moment. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and in like a very comfortable, safe like environment to be able to do that.
Yeah, and there's no kind of like planned stuff.
Yeah.
I like that
Yeah.
because I like the improvising part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They keep it interesting.
But also it's so when I was doing photography, I was focusing in on boudoir photography, and I was making an impact to the person I was taking photos with, and then maybe a few kind of like fans or whatever, or like people around them. And it was very rewarding from that point of view, because I was, kind of like engaging whilst also taking photos to allow women see a different side of themselves. There's a lot of pressure on women in today's society to look a certain way, to act a certain way, to be a certain, whatever. And I was providing them with a safe space so that they could be themselves, But what's interesting is the podcast space, even though I'm just sitting here having a conversation with you, I'll share this entire conversation online, and I feel like I can touch more people.
Oh, definitely.
Touch more people with your story. Definitely touch people with obviously like my story, because I'm very open and I talk about what's going on. And I've had people say to me, you need to do a podcast where someone asks you questions.
Sure. Because we've been talking here, and I'm kind of like, I want to ask you a question, but it's not the time. Maybe you start talking. I won't have time to talk myself. people that like chatting. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like, well,
Yeah.
go fast, quickly. Time will
Yeah.
just go
Yeah.
done.
So
Uh,
so I definitely feel like this format, um I can touch more people
yes,
in the
definitely.
stories.
Mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
you spoke about watching the news and watching the news for the stories. Like I feel like this is my news channel, and
Oh yes, I
and
get you.
I'm able to share the origin stories of how you became who you became.
Yeah, it's true because you don't usually talk about that. You
Yeah.
just be in a place and you just bring part of yourself there. You don't like this is the Judex that they know.
Yeah.
They don't know that Judex. They don't like. There's not many people that actually really know me as a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the whole picture. You know what I mean? But it's good to just like say to just try to portray that, give
Mm.
a big picture of what actually it is.
Mm.
You know.
Mm.
So yeah, like if I start right now, I'll tell you here. Came in Australia, Mauritian. So Geo will tell you like I started a Mauritian kind of stuff. So we're still running sonic waves and trying to engage the community.
Yeah.
Why? Because when we came here, I saw a lot of lost soul. What was happening? I saw a lot of Mauritian that like second generation, kind of like they are Mauritian when they are in another society, and then they are Australian when they are with Mauritian. So kind of like I was seeing that a bit odd. Kind of like they couldn't know, like they didn't see their roots.
Mm.
They lost their roots in a way.
Mm.
So kind of like I was trying to bring back their roots because I came here when I was 30. I was deeply rooted. I'm Mauritian Mo, and I adopted the culture here. So this is what it is. I'm a Mauritian but adopted Australian culture.
Mm.
I know definitely what it is. I know my roots, you know what I mean? But
Mm.
some people they don't really know where they're rooted, or they
Mm.
try to not accept part of who they are as well.
Mm.
So be proud as well. Maybe they didn't take the good part of being a Mauritian sometimes, you know what I mean? This where you come from is big part of who you are.
Yeah.
Like the roots is very important. Very,
Mm.
very important. Like saying that the music, you're telling me like the music that I do, I didn't even talk about Sega music, which is our music, Sega music. I feel that doing those music in Australia or doing it for the world right now is the most important thing that I'm doing.
Mm.
Because when I'm doing Sega or reggae or traditional Sega or whatever it is, I'm doing it authentically.
Mm.
It's kind of like because I come from there, it's my roots and I'm just sharing what I know exactly. It's
Mm.
not like I'm making it up. It's like, let's say I play reggae. I'm a Mauritian guy, I play reggae. Yeah, I can play reggae.
Mm.
But it's not the root of my music. It's not something that belongs to me.
Mm.
Sega is something that I can proudly say, this music, I understand that in and out.
Mm.
I've been listening to that since I was kid. Even before you were a kid, like you were in the womb. And growing up knowing the culture, knowing what effect it does on the society back home, what effects it's doing here, what effects it's doing in the society around the world right now. So
Mm.
it's not just like, okay, just being adopting a culture and singing. No, I'm just trying to bring my own culture to the world
Mm.
in a way.
Yeah.
But it's gonna take a long time to bring that because just what I was saying, innovation in music, people can't accept a type of music right now. You have to get used to that.
Mm.
If you think Afrobeat itself, Afrobeat, which is like it was kind of like nothing like a new music,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
right now it's mainstream. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you just need these. But again, sing Afrobeat that we know on the mainstream. It's not the Afrobeat that the real deal. You know what I mean? It's just like blues as well.
Yeah.
It's not the blues, the black blues, but it's just a part of it. So, but it would be good to have a piece of Sega being on mainstream as well. That's
Yeah.
everyone can enjoy that, you know.
It sounds like there's a real opportunity though as well to like share that style of music so then people can appreciate it.
Definitely, Australia is very multicultural.
Mm.
We've been playing in like festival like in here in Canberra or whatever, and the door open and people enjoy those music. They enjoy the beat. They enjoy that the groove,
Mm.
that vibration that's coming. It's like, sometimes you don't understand what you're saying, but you see people smiling, having fun, and it's
Yeah.
like you want to be part of that.
Exactly.
It's a good vibe thing,
Yeah.
But again, we could do that as well, implementing English words on that, and this like make you understand, like make the wider public understand what we're singing about.
Mm.
But the beat can be the same,
Mm.
and bring that. I got a lot of project in my mind, like bringing that Sega beat into like mixing that with jazz, mixing that.
Are you're coming out with an album?
I am, sir,
Hey.
and so a new album coming. I've been cooking that album this year actually. Let's go back. In 2012, I released one,
Yeah.
and actually, it was my first album in Australia. It was called Afro Soul,
Okay.
and I was just trying to get some stuff out, but then get nominated, and went to Music Victoria, and I found myself with Archie Roach on the same list
Wow.
with Kylie Aldis, people like that, and I was like, I didn't win eventually because I was just like nominated, but I was like in there. I was like, man, so you can make that.
Yeah.
So keep writing. I kept writing stuff and really few tunes, but yeah, this year I had another actual album that was ready 2 years ago, but I didn't release. I was like, it wasn't the time. I didn't
Yeah.
feel like it. I was more like in the writing process,
Mm.
but now it's the time. So I'm gonna release an album right now. Again, this album's gonna be around migration kind of theme.
Yeah.
Not all the songs.
Yeah.
Some songs upbeat, some downbeat, some traditional, some jazz. It's gonna be a mix. I'm singing in French, I'm singing in Creole, I'm singing in English.
Okay.
Yeah. So all these languages, but the topic is being a migrant.
Yeah.
Judex Rose being a migrant in Australia, kind of stuff. My perspective of life, of what's happening in the world, or as an ambiguous person expressing my views. you know,
You're an ambiguous person expressing your views through your art.
art, yeah. And this is how I can actually resume all what I'm doing. That's just what it is,
That's amazing. How can people find you?
Just go on judexrose.com. You'll find my stuff there. Or just on Facebook those days. Instagram, Judex Rose.
Yeah.
I haven't posted much on my Insta and Facebook lately,
Yeah.
but I'm coming back. You just need those days, if you're releasing stuff, you will have to do a bit of promo to just put it out there.
Exactly.
Because
And so will you tour?
Not really. I just want to do a proper release.
Okay.
And release, it's going to be released on, trying to release this thing on vinyl.
Yeah.
Because
awesome.
I want to have something to touch.
Yeah.
know?
I'll add it to my collection.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. Oh yeah, that would be great. Judex Rose here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so kind of bring something to the world.
Yeah.
When you
Fantastic.
leave when you leave that world,
Yeah.
have something concrete here.
Yeah.
Like, always these great artists, if you think about them, it's
Yeah.
only that their records that is left now, their work or whatever.
Exactly.
So just leave something for the next generation to work on.
Yeah.
Because
Leave it for your son.
my son doesn't really into music right now. He's a soccer player.
He could be.
Well, the thing is that I don't want to impose anything with my son.
Yeah.
I said, look, whatever you do, just do it to your full potential.
Yeah. I'm sure he will. He's
will.
got a dad like you.
Yeah, and whatever he wants to do,
Yeah.
I'm kind of upset in a way that he's not taking music because it's a tool. For me, like music is like such a universal tool and universal language and because this is what I say. Yeah, I always say that. Judex Rose being on the street, no food, no drinks, no money. I have a guitar. I'll sing for you. I'll get some food tonight. Anywhere
Ah.
in the world. You know what I mean? This is a tool.
Yeah.
This is and also if I wouldn't, let's say I'm in any part of the world that I can't talk, I still sing.
Yeah.
I will communicate.
Yeah.
People will understand your feeling through your songs or
Yeah.
your feeling that you're playing. That kind of communication is universal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like everyone have it, but it's a gift to be able to just be able to express it. You know what I mean? And
And to connect with so many people as well.
uh, we didn't talk about that here. One of the place where I'm more comfortable, like anywhere else, is on a stage.
Mm.
Like man, I live for stage. I
Mm.
love being on a stage. People don't realize, even like when you're playing music, music is that kind of art form that people come to listen to you.
Mm.
There's not other stuff that people come to listen to you. People don't care about what you're saying. No one care about who's saying. But if you're singing, people come to hear you say something. And you should be feel appreciated, you know what I mean? Like appreciate that they're giving you that opportunity to listen to
Yeah,
you.
they're giving you their attention.
Attention.
Mm.
There's no other art that give that, like, maybe if you playing, like you painting, they come and see your picture or whatever. But music itself, music create all these emotions at just like in one glance. You'll have the video, you have the image, you'll have the memory kicking back. It's like music. It's for me. It's the ultimate art
Mm.
because it's encompass almost everything, like from real to unreal as well. Because we are not just like creating music, like let's say in the 60s, which we just like playing guitar and just sound like that, reproducing. You know what I mean? We kind of like we manipulating the sound to make it something else. I went to few weeks. I went with my son. We went to Monster Truck, and I was just amazed by the loudness of what I heard. It's like, man, it's not about not the show, but how loud thing can be. I never experienced loudness as that. And after that, I was like, man. Most of the time I was there, I was like having my thing on my ears. But then you know what? At a certain point in the show, there was an accident, and the DJ, whatever, those guys, the master of ceremony, they had to keep things from happening, and they said to the kids to yell as loud as they could, just to show, like the excited,
Appreciation, yeah.
because they said to the grown up to shout, and then they said to the kids to shout. The kids normally will just win, and you know what? This was the experience for me. I've never heard as much that many kids shouted at the same time as loud as they could. It was loud and horrible, but I removed my thing from my ears just to listen to it. I was like, this at this moment I'm experiencing something that I might not be experiencing in my life.
Yeah.
Or this is where can you get that much people just like shouting?
Yeah.
It was horribly beautiful. Yeah, it's amazing sound. What sound do you to you? Like, and yeah, I think the ears itself. Like the pleasure you're getting out, and the sometimes discomfort, or it's just the world. Thinking let's think a world without sound, so it would be like almost empty. Like those days there's always music playing in the background. You're shopping, you going in your car, it's like it's accompanying you like everywhere you go. So why
Yeah, it's
There's
couldn't.
something.
I couldn't imagine being deaf.
Like, can you think about someone like saying like, we we're going somewhere, we're not going to put music today,
Mm.
or you put a show, you put the movie or whatever. There's no music in the background. It's like you will feel like I'm watching that movie, but there's something weird. What's happening?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
there's no music to create those
Yeah.
moods, those feelings. Isn't like you watch those TV shows right now. As soon I was just watching the block, and as soon as there's something wrong here, you have this noise like. Brrrr. It was like even before they talk, you already know like, oh, there's something
Yeah.
wrong. That's gonna happen.
Yeah. You can anticipate it.
So sounds like those sounds mean something to us. Like a certain sound is associated with triggering things in our brain even
Yeah.
before we know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This primary thing, kind of like
Did your son like the monster trucks?
he did, but he was because his ear is very sensitive as well.
Right.
He was after the show. He was like, "Oh man, I'm still dizzy." But he liked the experience. Like I watch it. It's gonna be only once,
Yeah.
and same as well. But he did enjoy it. Actually, we didn't really enjoy the truck. It was the bikes. Bikes was great. Bikes was like going like everywhere, up and down.
Is that still Crusty Demons?
I don't think so. I can't remember the names
Can't
now.
remember, that's all right.
Yeah, but well, it was good, but really loud. I never experienced anything as loud as that.
How funny.
Yeah, it was.
Well, Judex, thank you so much for coming along.
You're welcome, and thank you for giving me the opportunity,
Yeah, absolutely.
which is like, it's a great experience for myself to be here and just talking about a bit of myself and the
Yeah.
experience and thing like that, and sharing with you as well.
Oh, look, I'm always appreciative. People coming and sitting down with me and just basically having a chat. And me
Thank
learning
you.
about your story and you learning about me and us having a laugh and yeah.
It was my pleasure, actually.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Andy. I hope can see much more of your talks and shows.
Yeah, absolutely,
Keep
absolutely.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks everyone for listening in. Make sure you hit subscribe and that notification bell, and I'll catch you guys all on the next one. See ya.